This is an emergency video because I genuinely believe that we are in a true state of emergency. To be very clear, this is far more urgent than any breaking news video that we have ever discussed on this channel. Donald Trump just wrapped up a speech at Fort Bragg in front of uniformed American troops. And this speech was more disturbing and dangerous than any speech Trump has given since at least the one he gave on January 6, 2021, which preceded a violent insurrection against the United States. And I'll explain why. Not only did Trump demonstrate his typical stupidity and cognitive decline, but he demonstrated something else and got a very different reaction. Trump repeatedly, explicitly attacked Democrats, the media, former President Biden, and declared that he would strip from Americans a fundamental freedom of expression guaranteed by the Constitution. And uniformed U.S. soldiers cheered him. They applauded him. They celebrated him. They booed their former commander-in-chief. They booed the media. They booed Democratic politicians. And that, folks, is a Rubicon we've never seen before. The military is supposed to be apolitical, and we are seeing increasing disturbing signs that it is not, and it is being poisoned by Trump and MAGA. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we're going to start with this, and we've got several other clips as well.
But remember, it was only that little brief moment that it wasn't called Fort Bragg. It was by the Biden administration, not Trump. I had nothing to do with it. We got it changed. We said, I came here numerous times, and they kept saying Fort Bragg, Fort Bragg. I said, it's not the name, but then I was making a speech. I said, what do you think I should call this place? Call it Fort Bragg. I said, Fort Bragg, how you doing?
So the Biden administration, the President Biden, were these people's previous commander-in-chief, and they are booing him and his administration. To be clear, I would be disturbed if this speech were being given by President Biden and they booed Donald Trump or the Reagan administration or the Bush administration. The military is supposed to be apolitical, particularly when those uniforms are on, and yet we hear them celebrate Donald Trump. We hear them boo the Biden administration. Then there's this.
And for a little news for the fake news back there, the fake news, ladies and gentlemen, look at them all. Oh, what I have to put up with. Fake news. What I have to put up with. But they're all right. They've been very nice today. They were impressed with that display, I can tell you that. I think it took them a little by surprise, but.
So those are uniformed U.S. soldiers booing the media. A media that Donald Trump attacks because the media sometimes criticizes him. And uniformed U.S. troops are booing them and mocking them. Disturbing. We've never seen this before. Here's another clip.
For a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee. We won a lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change. And I'm superstitious. I like to keep it going, right? I'm very superstitious. We want to keep it going.
Donald Trump is renaming those forts after Confederates. Confederates are a lethal combination of slavers, traitors, and losers. And uniformed U.S. troops are openly celebrating Donald Trump's decision to venerate them. It is fundamentally no different than venerating Nazis on American soldiers. Well, the Nazis were German, the Confederates were American. It doesn't fucking matter. The Confederates were slavers, traitors, and losers who tried to destroy this nation and enslave people. They should not be venerated by military bases or public offices. If you want to fly a Confederate flag, be my guest. But the military venerating Confederate names? Disgusting. Disgusting. And they're celebrating it. Here's another clip.
our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved. And I know the two senators from here. I think you guys, are you guys in favor of it? Boy, would this be a bad time for them to say no. I got you. I got those two votes.
The right to burn an American flag, whether or not you agree with the exercising of that right. But the right to burn an American flag is a fundamental right of the freedom of expression enshrined in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. And the right to burn an American flag specifically was upheld by even conservative Supreme Courts. Justice Scalia and others say, I hate the burning of the flag, but that is a personal determination. The right of people to burn American flags, despite my preferences, is one that's available to them. And Donald Trump is proposing that he and Congress take away a fundamental American liberty for a sense of faux patriotism. And I say faux because Donald Trump represents everything about America at its worst. And he attacks America all the time. When President Biden was in office, when President Obama was in office, Donald Trump repeatedly demeaned and attacked America. He's not a patriot. He's an ideologue. He's not even an ideologue. I shouldn't say that. He's encouraging ideologues. He himself has no ideology other than his own aggrandizement. He's an authoritarian. He's a fascist. And disturbingly, that sense is proliferating among the most powerful fighting force in the history of civilization. That's not good. At a time when they are supposed to be apolitical.
Wearing a uniform because you don't know exactly who they are. In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent. And they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders.
Donald Trump publicly mocked Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass in front of uniformed U.S. troops, and they booed Governor Newsom and Karen Bass. And then Trump claimed, without evidence, that Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass are paying agitators and rioters to destroy Los Angeles. Not only is there no evidence to support that, it doesn't really make that much fucking sense because riots are not good politics. There's no political upside or benefit to Governor Newsom or Mayor Bass for them to intentionally stir up riots. Doesn't make sense. But that's MAGA for you. And again, the attitude is the uniformed U.S. troops feel comfortable mocking and booing Donald Trump's political opponents.
Within the span of a few decades, Los Angeles has gone from being one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities on earth to being a trash heap with entire neighborhoods under the control of transnational gangs and criminal networks. It's horrible.
So that's Donald Trump referring to the second largest city in a country he governs, filled with what, 8 to 10 million Americans, as a trash heap. Imagine if President Biden were to say that about Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama. How would people have reacted? Not just on the right, but quite frankly, the center and the left as well. It's disturbing. 2 more clips I want to play. These are just to show how stupid Donald Trump is and to demonstrate that he is in a state of genuine cognitive decline. Let's start with this one.
And they allowed these people to say, and by the way, I've known this guy for a long time. He was never the sharpest bulb. But you know what he was? He wasn't a radical left lunatic. He never dreamt about open borders. He never said that when he...
So that was Donald Trump referring to President Biden. Did you catch the gaffe?
And by the way, I've known this guy for a long time. He was never the sharpest bulb.
Sharpest knife is an appropriate idiom, an appropriate expression. The brightest bulb is another appropriate expression or idiom if you're trying to insult someone's intelligence. But he fucked it up spectacularly. He wasn't the sharpest bulb. What the hell does that even mean, you moron? Wasn't just that. There was also this. Donald Trump butchering history, demonstrating that he is blissfully unaware of major American events.
Recently, other countries celebrated the victory of World War I. France was celebrating, really. They were all celebrating. The only one that doesn't celebrate is the USA, and we're the ones that won the war. Without us, you'd all be speaking German right now. Maybe a little Japanese thrown in. But we won.
There's a little Japanese thrown in. Did you catch what he said?
Countries celebrated the victory of World War I. France was.
The Japanese were allies in World War I. They were opponents in World War II. So he either fucked up the reference to Japan or he fucked up the reference to the specific World War. So this is what I mean. You have demonstrations of Donald Trump's stupidity, ignorance, cognitive decline, as he's the most powerful man on earth, which is funny and dangerous all at the same time. But what's truly chilling is Donald Trump just made one of the most political speeches we've ever seen in front of the United States military, and uniformed U.S. troops applauded his demonization of his opponents, and they booed his political enemies. And they celebrated the notion that Trump would try to strip a fundamental, constitutionally guaranteed and Supreme Court reaffirmed constitutional right of freedom of expression. That's why I say this is an emergency video, because we are in a genuine emergency. And if you go on social media, you will see political scientists, veterans, all sorts of people publicly condemning this and sounding the alarm, because this is indeed a Rubicon. Folks, be paying attention. We are 6 months into the Trump administration. We have 3.5 at least to go. And fascism is officially here. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.